Welcome back to another meeting, another interview. This time, as our guest, we have Emily. But can you
Emily Botnick. Yep.
Okay.
Spell my name, sure. Bottinick.
Great. And as well, we have my friend Tiff. So welcome.
Hey Tiff, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Tiff?
I'm good. How are you?
So
Good. How are you? Good.
So Emily,
Okay.
What's your disability or diagnosis?
My disability, I have the main one that I always tell people is I have spastic diplegia cerebral palsy. And then I also deal with anxiety and depression. And then I have one other mental health condition that I don't really talk about too much. I deal with a lot of mental health stuff.
Do you deal with any chronic pain?
I do. I have chronic lower back pain. I deal with it when I stand up for too long. So like when I'm getting ready in the morning, kind of brushing my teeth is kind of a chore because I have to stand there and do that. And when I wash my face and stuff like that. They haven't really found anything like that would point to it other than just like weak muscles that come with CP. It's just my back muscles are weaker, I guess, which is kind of irritating because like, you know, you do a lot of therapy and you do a lot of movement, but it still doesn't seem to be any better. And then, you know, I also have spasticity, so that's like chronic pain all the time. Spasms are horrible, as I'm sure most of you know. Yeah, so other than that, I don't really deal with much of anything.
So it's basically pain on your legs, or it's in all over the body?
For spasms, it's usually in my legs, and I also deal with clonus too, like where you know when your leg shakes depending on what position you put it in. I deal with that as well.
Yeah, so basically that's are some struggles of the chronic pain and the disability.
Yeah, most of it, 90% of it has to do with CP.
Yeah, some of the struggles you have.
Right.
What is one thing you want people to know about your disability or diagnosis?
I want people to know that my life and the lives of the people like me are just as valuable and just as rewarding as other people, able-bodied people, you know, whatever you want to say. Because I've seen some of the most nasty comments that people that I look up to, they get, you know, people who have just become parents, they've literally just welcomed a brand new baby into the world, and they go, oh, it's pretty irresponsible for you to have a child. Now, I understand where people are coming from. I get it. I understand because like, obviously they have the child's best interest and they want to make sure the child is taken care of. But at the same time, you know, my whole life I've had to adapt to a world that isn't, you know, set up for me, whether that be through school or, you know, going to the grocery store or, you know, just getting in the car and you know, all these things. And so, you know, you've had to adapt and trial and error and stuff like that. And so what makes you think that this situation is any different? You know what I mean? That just grinds my gears when I see that, because I'm like, we have so much love to give. I love everyone, you know, until they give me a reason not to. We have so much love to give and so much, you know, care to give that, you know, it doesn't matter who what we look like or what our abilities are, because we could do things just in a different way. So that's what I really want to get out there, is that everyone can do everything just in a different way. Because
that's so
grinds
true.
my it just grinds my gears when I see that, and I'm like, first of all, why would you ever write that to somebody? But secondly, you know, why would you think that way? That's just a weird way of thinking.
Yeah, because sometimes we know what we can do, but sometimes some of our struggles are not based in our disability, but are based in what other people think, and how our attitudes and facilities made.
Exactly, right.
What is a misconception people have of your disability or diagnosis?
I guess they would say that, like, you know, I've you know, you're so lucky that you get to sit down all day, and you know, you're so lucky that you don't have to do this or you don't have to do that. When in reality, my life is pretty challenging. You know, just having to rely on another person, or you know, a caregiver or a nurse, or you know, whatever you want to call it. Having to rely on another person to, I wouldn't say do everything for you, because there are things that I can do on my own. But having to rely on another person to do a lot of things for you is kind of challenging, because you know, I would just love to be able to make my own coffee in the morning without having to worry about spilling it all over myself and giving myself a 3rd-degree burn. Or you know, I'd love to just hop in the car and go, you know, to the beach with my friends or something, or you know, just the simplest of things, or even walk out the door to get my mail, you know, from my online shopping or whatever. Just so many things that people take for granted that I would love to do on a daily basis. So I guess that they would think that my life is easy because I have people to help me, and in one way that's true, but in one way it's not, because I have to see other people taking things for granted that I would love to do.
Like being independent, sometimes as people in wheelchairs, we are not so independent as we want. So
Right.
I feel. Sorry, you were saying?
Oh no, I was just gonna agree with you, because you know, just as much as my wheels are like an extension of me, and I can move around and I can carry things and whatever, but there's so many things that I can't reach, like the glasses to get myself drink the water, or you know, sometimes a plate that's too high out of the way or whatever. There's just so many things that I'm limited to do.
Yeah, sometimes, and as I was saying prior, some of our struggles, some things that doesn't make us independent, it's not really our disabilities, it's our accommodations and some facilities.
Right,
they don't help us as persons with disability. They don't help us to be independent. You know what we're saying?
correct.
Or I got a good one for you guys. Or people think that just because we're disabled, we're not mentally able to think for ourselves. Or
Oh yes, that's always
that
a
is
good
like
one.
the big thing for me.
Yeah, even when I was younger and I was in school, like my elementary school days, I would have teachers and you know, paraprofessionals or whatever talk about other students as if like I wasn't listening to everything they said, and you know, I would come home and my mom would ask me about my day, and I would say, and she goes, well, how do you know that? And I said, oh, because so and so told me. And she goes, oh, you're not supposed to know that, you know?
Yeah.
And it still happens. I'm just like, you know, maybe it's because I'm more of like an observer, and if I And if I have something to say, I'll say it. But if I don't, then I just sit and listen. But I don't know. Yeah, that's
It's
happened to
like
me quite a lot too.
it's like one time when I was younger, people used to tell me, "How you're in a very comfortable spot. You're always sitting." And I said like, "Nope, being 10 to 12 hours sitting, it's no comfortable." And or my good friend, someone said, "So your wheelchair is real comfortable." And I turned to her and I said, "Nope, sit there 2 hours and you see how comfortable it is."
Yeah, I mean,
I remember
mine
you telling me
is.
that too.
Hmm?
I remember you telling me that, so
I know.
Mine is custom though, so like it is comfortable to a sense, but it's not like most people would be uncomfortable, like you said, in a matter of an hour or something.
Yeah,
Okay, so what's
it's
the
my
next
turn.
question?
Why do you think it's important to raise awareness of disability?
I think it's important to raise awareness of disability, just for the simple fact of normalizing it, because more than I think it, don't quote me on this, but I think it's either 50% or a little more than 50% of the entire world population is disabled.
yes.
Yeah, I think it's somewhere around there. Don't quote me, but yeah, it's a lot of people. So I think normalizing it to be something more than just like, oh my God, look at that girl in the grocery store. She's in a wheelchair. Like, I wonder what, you know what I mean? Like, more than gawking at it, just like have that representation of, oh, you know, this person uses a wheelchair, or this person uses a service dog, or this person is paralyzed, or this person uses hand controls to drive when you're driving down the road, you know? I think normalizing it is really important, as well as I think representation for the disabled community, because I'm all about shopping, you know, small business and shopping online, sometimes at the big stores, you know, but clothes fitting sizing is different, because I usually purchase items a little bit bigger because I am sitting, so they hit me in different spots. So I would like to have bigger, just so it's not digging into me all day, you know. But I would love to see someone who looks like me, because that way I would know, you know, how it fits, and if it's gonna get into the wheel, or if I'm gonna need to tuck it, or if I'm gonna need to, you know, move it around or pull it up or pull it down or whatever. You know, I hadn't even seen a disabled person in like a Target ad until I got on Instagram and I started following these young children whose parents got them into model for Target and stuff and everything. Sorry. So I think just normalizing it is really good. And I think just the representation to know that people are just like you. And what the one thing that boggles my mind is that we celebrate uniqueness, we celebrate artists, we celebrate people who can sew, we celebrate people who can embroider. We, you know, so many people use that circuit machine and can make so many beautiful, amazing things. Trust me, I have them all. I love shopping on Etsy and I love doing all that stuff. But the one thing we can't seem to celebrate is that disabled people are also unique, but we're not the norm. You know, creative people are creative and awesome and whatever, but it seems that disabled people aren't. You know, I don't know. My personal opinion, I'm not speaking for Tiff or for Sophia. That's just how I feel, you know?
No, I totally agree with you on that, actually. Spot on.
Thank
Yeah, I feel like as society, as a world, not just as Mexico, Canada, or well, as any country, we as world we
Right.
have to normalize seeing people with disabilities, having people with disabilities around.
Right.
Mhm.